Have you ever felt completely hijacked by your emotions? That moment when anger floods your body, anxiety freezes your thoughts, or sadness weighs so heavy you can barely move. You're not alone. In today's chaotic world, our emotions often control us rather than the other way around. But what if I told you there's a 2,500-year-old wisdom that holds the key to emotional freedom? Welcome to the first chapter of our journey into emotional mastery. I'm going to show you exactly how to remain unshakable, even when life throws its worst at you. This isn't about suppressing your feelings or becoming cold and detached. It's about something far more powerful, understanding the true nature of your emotions, so deeply that they transform from your masters into your messengers. The ancient wisdom we're about to explore has helped millions find peace in chaos, clarity in confusion, and strength in vulnerability. So take a deep breath and let's begin with the most fundamental question. What actually are emotions, and why do they have such power over us? The answer might surprise you and completely change how you experience life from this moment forward. The teacher picked up a fallen petal and held it in his palm. "Look at this petal," he said. "Like our emotions, it appears solid and permanent. But watch." It blew gently and the petal drifted away. This is impermanence. Nothing stays forever, including our strongest feelings. He explained that emotions arise from our perceptions and thoughts, like waves forming on water. When someone speaks harshly to you, the anger doesn't come from their words, but from how your mind interprets them, he said. One student frowned, "But my anger feels so real, so solid." That's the difference between feeling an emotion and becoming it, the teacher explained. When rain falls, the sky doesn't become wet. It simply allows the rain to pass through. Your awareness can hold emotions the same way. He drew a circle in the dirt. Attachment to pleasant feelings and rejection of unpleasant ones creates suffering. When we grasp at joy and push away sadness, we create an endless cycle of dissatisfaction. The youngest student asked, "How can our thoughts create such powerful feelings?" "Think of your mind as a clear mountain lake," the teacher replied. "Thoughts are like pebbles dropped in water. Each creates ripples of emotion. But the water and the pebbles remain distinct, just as your awareness and your emotions are separate." The teacher then spoke of three primary emotional patterns that cloud judgment: greed that always wants more, anger that rejects what is, and confusion that fails to see clearly. These are not enemies to fight, but patterns to recognize with kindness. An older student who had struggled with grief asked, "If emotions are just passing clouds, why do some feel so overwhelming?" "Because we've forgotten our natural state," the teacher said softly. "Like the sky that exists before and after every storm, your basic nature is already calm and balanced. You're not learning something new, but remembering what you've always had." The wind picked up again, swirling petals around them. "Watch the petals," the teacher said. "They don't fight the wind or cling to the branch. They simply move with what is happening. Your emotions are like these petals, temporary visitors passing through the vast space of your awareness." As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the monastery grounds, the teacher concluded this first lesson. Remember, emotions are neither good nor bad. They're information, energy moving through you. When you stop judging them as problems, they become teachers instead. The students sat in silence, watching the dancing petals, each beginning to sense the spaciousness that exists beyond the coming and going of emotional states. Tenter NOVAMENTEVM. Now that we understand the nature of emotions, let's explore how to actually work with them in real time. This is where mindfulness comes in, not as some complex spiritual practice, but as a simple, practical skill you can use anywhere, anytime. As the next morning dawned, the teacher led his students to a small stream that flowed near the monastery. They sat on smooth rocks as the water gurgled past, creating a gentle soundtrack for their lesson. Yesterday, we learned what emotions are, the teacher said. Today, we learn how to see them clearly before they overwhelm us. He asked everyone to place one hand on their chest and simply breathe normally. Your breath is always with you, he explained. When emotions start to spin out of control, your breath becomes an anchor, bringing you back to the present moment. The students practiced following their breath for several minutes. One young woman with a worried expression spoke up. "My mind keeps wandering to my problems." The teacher nodded. "That's exactly why we practice. Each time you notice your mind has wandered, gently bring it back. This is how you build the muscle of awareness." Next, the teacher guided them through a practice of scanning their bodies from head to toe. Emotions always appear in the body before the mind recognizes them, he explained. Anger might be heat in the face, anxiety might be tightness in the chest, sadness might be heaviness in the shoulders. An older man described feeling a knot in his stomach when thinking about a conflict at home. The teacher smiled. "This is good noticing. Now simply name what you're feeling, anxiety or worry. Naming emotions reduces their power." The students practiced identifying and naming their feelings as they arose. The teacher explained that this develops an inner witness that can observe emotions without being swept away by them. "There's a simple method I call RAIN," the teacher continued. "First, recognize what's happening. Then accept it rather than fighting it. Next, investigate with kindness where you feel it in your body. Finally, remember non-identification. You are not your emotions. You are the awareness that sees them." A middle-aged woman objected, "But sometimes I judge myself for even having certain feelings." "That's normal," the teacher replied. "Just notice the judgment without judging yourself for judging. The key is to watch your emotions with the same kindness you'd offer a child learning to walk." The teacher demonstrated how to pause when emotions arose strongly, taking 3 conscious breaths before responding to anything. This simple pause, he explained, prevents automatic reactions that we later regret. For their final practice of the day, he taught them a deeper form of attention called clear seeing, watching emotions arise, change, and dissolve like bubbles in the stream beside them. They practiced noticing the beginning, middle, and end of each emotional wave. As their session concluded, the stream's constant flow reminded them of the ever-changing nature of their emotional landscape and their growing ability to navigate it with awareness rather than being carried away by every current and eddy of feeling. Transformative. As the 3rd day of training began, dark clouds gathered overhead. The teacher smiled at this perfect teaching opportunity as thunder rumbled in the distance. "Today," he said as raindrops began to fall, "we learn how to transform our most difficult emotions into sources of wisdom. Just as this storm brings water to nourish the earth, our challenging feelings can nourish our understanding when approached skillfully." The first student to speak was a man with a quick temper. "My anger feels like fire," he admitted. "It burns me and everyone around me." The teacher nodded. Anger indeed has tremendous energy. But rather than suppressing or expressing it blindly, we can transform it. Next time you feel angry, pause and look beneath it. Often you'll find a clear seeing of something that needs to change or a boundary that needs protection. He guided the group to explore how anger, when held in awareness without acting on it, reveals important truths and can be channeled into decisive, compassionate action instead of harmful reactivity. A young woman spoke next about her constant fears. The teacher invited her to approach her fear with gentle curiosity instead of resistance. Ask your fear, "What are you trying to protect me from?" Listen with kindness, as you would to a frightened child. Fear often contains wisdom about what we truly value. The rain intensified, and the teacher introduced a practice for transforming suffering. Imagine breathing in the pain you encounter, your own or others, and breathing out relief and comfort. This reverses our normal habit of avoiding discomfort and grasping at pleasure. The students practiced with the sound of rain as their backdrop, breathing in heaviness and breathing out lightness. There's something important to understand about suffering, the teacher continued. There's the initial pain of a difficult situation. That's the first arrow. Then there's our reaction to it, our resistance, judgment, or story about it. That's the second arrow. We can't always avoid the first arrow, but we can stop shooting ourselves with the second one. This insight brought visible relief to many faces in the group. The teacher spoke next about anxiety, which many students struggle with. Anxiety is scattered attention, projecting into an imagined future. By bringing your awareness fully into this moment, you transform anxious energy into alert presence, a valuable state that helps you respond effectively to what's actually happening. When discussing patience, the teacher shared how to transform irritation. Patience isn't passive waiting. It's a strong, active quality. When irritated, notice the urgent energy wanting things to be different immediately. Simply making space for this urgency without acting on it builds the power of patience. A student described feeling constantly frustrated with their progress. The teacher showed how frustration contains valuable feedback about our direction and effort. By neither suppressing nor indulging it, frustration becomes useful information for adjustment. As the rain began to ease, the teacher taught a final practice for transforming hostility. When someone's words or actions trigger negativity in you, mentally wish them well. May they be happy. May they be peaceful. This doesn't mean approving of harmful behavior, but it prevents hatred from taking root in your heart. The storm passed as their session ended, leaving everything fresh and renewed, much like their understanding of how to work skillfully with difficult emotions. Tenter NOVAMENTEVM. The morning of the fourth day dawned bright and clear. The teacher led the students to a sunny meadow filled with wildflowers. Their path through challenging emotions had been demanding, and many faces showed signs of the inner work they had been doing. Today, the teacher said with a warm smile, we learn to actively cultivate positive mental states. This isn't about forcing fake positivity, but about nurturing qualities that already exist within you, like seeds waiting to sprout. He began by introducing 4 essential qualities that create balance in the emotional life. The first is kindness, wishing happiness for yourself and others. The second is compassion, the wish to relieve suffering. The third is joy in others' happiness. And the fourth is balance, treating everyone with equal care. The students sat in a circle as the teacher guided them through a practice to develop these qualities. They started with someone they loved, then extended the same feelings to themselves, then to strangers, and finally to difficult people. Many found the last step challenging. Joy in others' good fortune is an often overlooked quality, the teacher explained. When someone succeeds or finds happiness, notice if you feel resentment or comparison. If you do, remember that happiness isn't limited. Someone else's joy doesn't reduce yours. A quiet woman shared her struggle with constant self-criticism. The teacher nodded in understanding and introduced a practice of gratitude. Each morning and evening, recall 3 things you appreciate. They can be simple, clean water, a moment of kindness, the feeling of sun on your skin. This creates new pathways in your mind. The teacher demonstrated how gratitude could be developed through daily reflection. You already have many gifts: your breath, your ability to learn, your capacity to care for others. Recognize these instead of focusing only on problems or lacks. When the discussion turned to resilience, the teacher suggested a practice of sending kindness to oneself during difficult moments. When you make a mistake or face a setback, place your hand on your heart and say, "This is a moment of suffering. May I be kind to myself." One student, a businessman, objected that this seemed selfish. The teacher smiled. Actually, self-compassion is the foundation for genuine compassion toward others. You can't give what you don't have yourself. The teacher then spoke about generosity as a way to cultivate joy. Give not just material things, but also attention, patience, or simply a genuine smile. Notice how giving freely creates immediate happiness. To strengthen these positive states, the teacher taught them to use imagination. Picture yourself embodying complete calm and kindness. What would your posture be? How would you speak? How would you respond to difficulty? By imagining these qualities vividly, you create the conditions for them to grow. Before ending the session, the teacher encouraged them to set aside time each day to consciously strengthen one positive quality. Just as you would exercise a muscle, regular attention strengthens these states until they become your natural way of being. As butterflies flitted among the meadow flowers, the students practiced cultivating joy and balance, their faces gradually reflecting the inner shift that was taking place. Tenter Novamentev. On the final day, as the sun rose on the monastery, the teacher took his students to the bustling village at the foot of the mountain. Unlike their previous peaceful settings, they were now surrounded by the chaos of daily life merchants calling out their wares. Children playing, arguments breaking out, and celebrations underway. Today, the teacher said as they walked through the crowded marketplace, we learn how to take everything we've practiced and use it in the real world. The true test of emotional mastery isn't found in quiet meditation, but in the middle of ordinary life. They stopped to observe a heated argument between two merchants. The teacher used this as an example. When you encounter emotional triggers in daily life, remember the first step is to pause. Take 3 conscious breaths before responding. This tiny gap is where your freedom lives. He demonstrated how this pause could work in various situations when receiving criticism, facing disappointment, or dealing with others' strong emotions. The simple act of pausing created space for wisdom to arise. The teacher then introduced the practice of taking short mindfulness breaks throughout the day. Set specific triggers for awareness, perhaps whenever you wash your hands, wait in line, or before checking your phone. These mini moments of presence add up to a transformed day. When they passed a particularly tense negotiation between a farmer and merchant, the teacher showed how to maintain calm during difficult conversations. Speak from observations rather than judgments. Listen to understand, not to defend or attack. And remember to stay connected to your body. Notice when tension arises and breathe into those areas. One student asked what to do after being emotionally triggered. The teacher explained techniques for restoration. If you've been knocked off balance, take a short walk. Feel your feet on the ground. Splash water on your face, or simply name what you're feeling. These simple acts can reset your nervous system. The teacher emphasized the importance of daily routines that support emotional balance. How you begin and end your day shapes everything in between. Even 5 minutes of morning reflection and evening review creates a container for greater awareness. As they rested in the shade of a large tree, the topic turned to community. We need others on this path, the teacher explained. Find people who support your growth and understanding. Even one friend who truly listens can make all the difference in developing emotional wisdom. They observed children playing, sometimes arguing, then making up moments later. Notice how children naturally embody nonviolence in healthy relationships, the teacher pointed out. They express feelings directly, resolve conflicts, and return to harmony. We can learn from this natural wisdom. For their final lesson, the teacher spoke about balance in emotional life. There are 2 common mistakes on this path. Some people suppress their emotions, pushing them down until they eventually explode. Others indulge every feeling, expressing them without discernment. The middle way is to acknowledge all emotions, express them when appropriate, and always with awareness. As the day drew to a close, the students realized they had been given not just concepts, but practical tools to navigate their emotional landscape, tools they could use in relationships, work, conflicts, and quiet moments alone. transformative. As our journey through the wisdom of emotional mastery comes to an end, I hope these ancient yet practical teachings have given you valuable tools to navigate life's challenges with greater ease and clarity. The path we've explored together, understanding emotions, practicing mindfulness, transforming difficulties, cultivating positive states, and integrating these skills into daily life, isn't just philosophy. It's a practical roadmap to freedom from emotional suffering. But this is just the beginning. True mastery comes through practice and community. If you found value in these teachings, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Each subscription helps us reach more people who are seeking peace amid life's storms. And if you know someone struggling with emotional balance, a friend overwhelmed by stress, a family member caught in anger, or a colleague dealing with anxiety, share this video with them. Your simple act of sharing might be exactly what they need right now. Remember, emotional mastery isn't about reaching some perfect state. It's about meeting each moment with greater awareness, kindness, and wisdom. One breath, one pause, one moment of presence at a time. Click that subscribe button below. Share this wisdom with others and join our growing community of practitioners. Together, we can create a more mindful, compassionate world, one calmer mind at a time. Thank you for walking this path with me today. Until next time, may you find peace in every breath. Tenter novamentio claude po cometer eros. Confira sempre as respostas.